We had tilled the ground and planted our winter wheat in the fall. In the spring, we planted barley, oats, and white peas on land that had been devoted to summer fallow the previous summer. June and July were devoted to reworking the previous year's summer fallow ground to keep the weeds from taking over. For the 228, this was all for the 220 acres we farmed for my Uncle Howdy's family on our old 220. This typically took us about 2 days every 2 weeks. I don't remember if my dad suggested I work for Hebling Brothers, who sold and maintained farm machinery in Moscow, Idaho, or not, but the summer I was 17, I worked for them for about 6 weeks starting in June. For the most part, I assembled non-motorized equipment like drills and rod weeders. Brand new but heavily painted parts. I often had to chip excessive paint off with a chisel or a screwdriver to be able to assemble them properly. One morning they sent two of us in separate vehicles to Lapway, Idaho to take possession of things from a farm that belonged to someone who owed them money. The other fellow was in charge and had done this for them before. And as I recall, we had no formal legal paperwork to present to the people. You usually associate this today with people who don't make their car payments and their cars repossessed by a bank. We easily found the farm and the farmhouse, but not the equipment Hebling had sold them. So instead, we took what we could find in the house. We took a bed, a washer and a dryer, and some odds and ends of tools we found. We loaded them onto a trailer behind the 1950 International pickup I was driving. I would have to drive more slowly than the other guy, so we left together. I didn't see him again. Lapway's along the Clearwater River about 20 miles upstream from Lewiston, Idaho. A modern highway for its time switched back up from Lewiston to Moscow. It was an ornery bit of road with frost heaves and tight corners, so I doubt I drove more than 20 miles per hour going up the 8 or so miles before I reached the top of the Lewiston grade and more level ground that led to Moscow. Once on top, I accelerated to maybe 40 miles an hour. I went over a frost heave and felt the rear end of the pickup go up into the air. The rear wheels left the ground, which were the driving wheels. I could steer, but I did not touch the brakes as the trailer was only a two-wheeled trailer. I had never experienced anything like this before in my life and marveled afterwards that I did not apply the brakes. As I let the pickup trailer slowly down without brakes, the trailer pickup oscillated up into the air and came back down a half dozen times. I finally got stopped, applying the brakes only when the rear wheels hit the ground, and got out to see what was happening. Another fellow behind me stopped to see if he could help me. The items of the trailer hadn't been tied down, and when I went over the frost heave shifted the weight of the trailer backwards. I could grab a hold of the tongue of the trailer or the rear bumper of the pickup and lift them into the air with very little effort. We found some rope in the back of the pickup and slid the heavier items forward in the trailer and tied them down. Once secured, I resumed my 20 mile per hour, the 35 miles to Helblings and Moscow. I was asked what took me so long. They thought maybe I'd gone to Genesee for lunch and were not happy that I was so late. When I told them what happened and what I did, I was praised for solving a very dangerous situation. Later that summer, they sent me north with an unloaded flatbed farm truck to pick up a trade-in tractor. It was a very old and non-functioning tractor. They planned to eventually salvage a few parts from it and then send it down to Lewiston to be sold for scrap iron. This tractor had a bulldozer blade on it, and the tractor and the blade completely filled the bed of the truck. They had me back up to an embankment level with the bed of the truck. They used another tractor to push it onto my truck. So heavy the rear springs on my truck were almost level. I'd been assured by the Helbling brothers that it would be tied down, as I had no tie downs and the truck was not as casting. This was not the case. Fortunately, the tractor was not going to roll about. We put it in gear to make sure it would not move. This was also, I had to drive so slowly it was just such a beautiful day. I started out in the morning and it was so cool and clear, and I was driving under some trees. Absolutely beautiful drive north. The return drive in the afternoon was equally as good.